A few years ago, before I was saved, I have to share this right now. A few years ago, before I was saved, I had fallen into the New Age and occult. And I was able to channel beings that I thought were aliens at the time. I know better now. But they told me that they were aliens, part of a galactic federation of multiple races surrounding the planet Earth and watching over us, guiding us telepathically and emotionally into an elevated and evolved ascended status of the fourth and fifth dimension and things like that. And they said one day the Galactic Federation would make themselves known, announce themselves, and that they would begin the process of evolving the planet with their energy. Well, they also said that those people who were not ready to ascend, that they would be taken from the earth for training, special training. Now that I'm saved, I know what this really is. This is the narrative that the enemy is going to use to explain away the rapture of the bride of Christ, the escape of the bride of Christ into the wedding feast, before tribulation commences. And when I was saved, and I came into this understanding, it was put on my spirit that when the Galactic Federation, those words specifically, when that is announced and the narrative begins, it will be very close. The rapture and the escape would be very close.
Aliens exist and President Trump knows about it. That's according to Israel's former space security chief. In an interview with an Israeli newspaper, he said the aliens have been waiting until today for humanity to develop and reach a stage where we will understand in general what space and spaceships are. NBC News chief global correspondent Bill Neely explains this one.
Hi, Alison. Well, this is quite a story, and it comes from the man who headed Israel's space security program for nearly 30 years. Chaim Eshed is making the extraordinary claim that the United States and Israel have been in contact with a group of aliens for years. Not immigrants, but extraterrestrials. He has called them the Galactic Federation of Aliens, and he says President Trump is aware of the existence of these aliens and had been on the verge of revealing their secrets, he claims, but was asked not to do so by the Federation in order to prevent what he calls mass hysteria. Well, the retired general says the US and Israel have kept it from the public because, quotes, humanity isn't ready and the aliens don't want to reveal themselves until humanity can evolve, he says, and understand what space really is. Well, the good news is that he claims an agreement has been reached between the US government and the aliens, a contract to do experiments here. There's also, he says, a secret underground base on Mars where there are American and alien representatives. Well, so far, President Trump has not tweeted about this, though remember a year ago he did set up the Space Force as the fifth branch of the US Armed Forces. Well, we did ask the White House, the Department of Defense and Israeli officials to comment. So far, they have not responded to the NBC News request, and I wonder if they ever will.
The Jerusalem Post releases an article entitled, quote, "Former Israeli space security chief says aliens exist. Humanity is not ready." Let's read it together and see what we can find. Every time this article says the word alien, I'm going to replace it with fallen angel, because that's exactly what they are. Quote, "This Galactic Federation has supposedly been in contact with Israel and the US for years, but are keeping themselves a secret to prevent hysteria until humanity is ready." This article is by Aaron Reich, December 8th, 2020. Has the state of Israel made contact with fallen angels? According to retired Israeli general and current professor Chaim Eshed, the answer is yes, but this has been kept a secret because, quote, "humanity isn't ready." Speaking in an interview, Eshed, who served as head of Israel's space security program for nearly 30 years and is a three-time recipient of the Israeli Security Award, explained that Israel and the US have both been dealing with fallen angels for years, with Eshed clarifying the existence of a, quote, "galactic federation." The Galactic Federation. In New Age theology, there is a group of so-called, quote, good aliens who call themselves the Galactic Federation of Light, or the Ashtar Command. They've been making contact with psychics and channelers for decades now, and their message is always the same. It's in direct opposition to the gospel of Jesus Christ. You see, it's the same exact lie Lucifer told Eve in the Garden of Eden. It's their calling card, and they always resort back to this promise of, "Ye shall be as gods." Let's continue reading the article from the Jerusalem Post. The 87-year-old former space security chief gave further descriptions about exactly what sort of agreements have been made between the fallen angels and the U.S., which ostensibly have been made because they wish to research and understand the fabric of the universe. This cooperation includes a secret underground base on Mars, where there are American and fallen angel representatives. If true, this would coincide with the U.S. President Donald Trump's creation of the Space Force as a fifth branch of the U.S. Armed Forces, though it is unclear how long this sort of relationship, if any, has been going on between the U.S. and its reported extraterrestrial allies. But Ashid insists that Trump is aware of them and that he was, quote, on the verge of disclosing their existence. However, the Galactic Federation reportedly stopped him from doing so, saying that they wished to prevent mass hysteria since they felt that humanity needed to, quote, evolve and reach a stage where we will understand what space is and what spaceships are.
From what we gather, advanced aliens have been contacting humankind through monoliths to help them develop advanced technology and a better understanding of the universe. The first monolith inspires prehistoric apes to invent the first tool, which is a weapon for killing. And this is essentially the moment when the apes become humankind as we know it. So there's the idea that our intelligence may have been developed through an outside mysterious force contacting us.